is the idea that the most cultured, civilized people had of God. She was a female principal, and uh, and gross immorality took place around her temple. I believe she was the goddess of fertility, if I remember correctly, and dishonesty of the worst sort. In which I guess you could say, if her husband was sterile, then you could go there and sleep with somebody else, or become a temple prostitute, and have as many kids as you wanted. They had turned the glory of the incredible God into the likeness of an image of corruptible man. Actually, adultery is a cartoon of God. It is a slander and a slur against him. Personally, I do not like to see pictures of Jesus, as Paul said that we know him no longer after the flesh. See 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 16. He is the glorified Christ. He is not that picture you have hanging on your wall, my friend. He, if he came into your room, you would fall on your face before him. He is the glorious Christ today. Don't slur our God by having a picture of him. And I expected to hear J. Vernon McGee hitting his desk like I have done on a couple of times delivering these sermons. He was emphatic about it and has an exclamation point there. He got very emotional about that. The Greeks made their gods like men, and as the Assyrians and the Egyptians and the Babylonians made their gods like beasts and birds and creepy things. I walked through the museum in Cairo and looked at some of the gods they had made. They are not very flattering representations, I can assure you. Man did not begin in idolatry. The savage of today is very unlike primitive man. Primitive man was monotheistic. Idolatry was produced later, and most of these uh, heretics, they will pagans, they will self-admitting, they believe in a system that was actually created in the 1800s, and so it doesn't actually go back to uh, like you would think. In the world of God, and the first record we have of idolatry is the connection with Rachel stealing her father's idols in Genesis 31. Man descended downward. He did not develop upward. Religiously, man has departed from God. Sir William Ramsay, who was once a belligerent believer, wrote in the City of Paul, "For my own part, I confess that my experience and reading show nothing to confirm the modern assumption in religious history. And a great deal to confirm Paul. Whatever evidence exists, with the rarest exception, the history of religion among men is a history of degeneration. It is not the fact of human history that man, standing alone, degenerates, and that he progresses only where there is in him so much sympathy with the devotion to the divine life as to keep the social body pure and sweet and healthy. My friend, the reason today there is a failure in our poverty programs and health programs and other social programs is because of the gross immorality and a turning away from God. They say, we want to be practical and we do not want to introduce religion. That's the problem. The only practical thing uh, uh, is for man to do is to return to the living and true God.